Okay guys, class is in session. We're learning about weapons. I got my lesson plan. I'm assuming you've seen the movie or were spoiled about it on TikTok. If you haven't, go watch it now. Great, I'm gonna have to inverse this. Hold up, let me check. No, wait, you can read it, it's the right way. So when you're trying to analyze a piece of media, here's what you do. If you haven't seen Weapons, it's about like, oh wait.
I can eat.
Well, okay, what is Weapons about, okay? It's a movie. It's a movie, but not any type of movie. What kind of movie is it? It's a fantasy horror movie, okay? So what does that mean? Movie means it's a story. Fantasy means not real. And horror means it's about our fears. So it's a story that's not real, that's about what we're scared about. They're trying to say, okay, weapons. Big picture, what are like the main things it's about? It's about kids that go missing. There is a witch. Why do the kids go missing? Because there's a witch. Her sister was a witch, bro. And then, okay, from the kids going missing and the witch, we have a sense of mob mentality. And then last thing is because this is a movie, it can be told in different ways. How is this movie told? Told through changing perspectives. Start off, if you're trying to analyze something, broad picture. It's a movie called Weapons. It's a fantasy horror. So it's going to be about your fears. It's not real. It's about kids go missing because of a witch, and this causes some sense of mob mentality. Great. That's the first thing you do when you're trying to comprehend a piece of media. Broad strokes. Next. Go deeper. Once you have established the main overarching plot points, you need to try and go a little deeper. Think a little bit. So what are some things that are in this movie that aren't like in the synopsis, right? Well, addiction. There's the teacher lady who's an alcoholic. You have the police officer who's an alcoholic. You have the guy who's like addicted to crack. So addiction is a theme, right? Another one, loss and grief. People have lost their children and they are grieving the loss of their children. So it's about loss and grief. Okay, this one you might have picked up on or not is parasites. Whenever there's a classroom scene in any movie ever, the classroom is telling you what the movie is about. So what are they studying in the classroom? They're studying parasites. They're like talking about tapeworms and stuff. Like when like the gay couple, when they're in their house watching a documentary, it's about the fungus that leaves their head. You could even view Gladys the witch as a parasite, but that's a little bit deeper. We're gonna get there. So what's another thing this movie is about? Well, horror movies are about fears, right? What's the fear of this movie? Well, it's kind of the fear of losing bodily autonomy. Because if you think about it, it's like we want to be in control of our body, but what does Gladys do? She takes over your body. She controls your body. So you lose control over yourself. Okay, what else is it about? Well, it's about abuse. About abusing substances, about abusing your power, about child abuse, because Gladys is kind of abusing Alex. And then the last one is, this one you'd have to think a little bit, but it's about like vampirism. And look, Gladys is a witch. Her sister was a witch, bro. But there's like blood magic involved. She leeches off of other people. She has to be invited in. So like while she's not a vampire, she's a witch. Her sister was a witch, bro. You have to acknowledge that there is a sense of vampirism, of stealing the life force, stealing the energy from those around you. Okay? Okay, once you have done that, you need to then question your own idea, your own perception of the movie. So you go, well, is this a movie about a witch and about children who go missing? No, it's not. Because it doesn't focus on the witch. It doesn't focus on the children going missing. What does it focus on? It focuses on the aftermath of the children going missing. The aftermath of a trauma. But also, it's not about the witch. It's about how the witch controls a town. So what is the movie Weapons about? It's about the aftermath of trauma, and it's about how a witch controls a town. And then from here, you can go, okay, well, what is the message? What is the film telling you? Because it's not showing the event, right? I guess it shows in the beginning the kids running away, but it doesn't focus on that. Because it's pointing at something, what is it trying to tell you? What is the message? What is it showing? It's showing people abuse substances. People abuse substances. It's not saying it's a good thing. It's not saying it's a bad thing. It's not telling you how to overcome it. It's just saying, hey, there was this big traumatic event. People abuse substances. What else is it saying? Well, it's saying because of the aftermath and the witch's control, people use other people to their own ends. You have Alex, who uses the children in the class to try and protect his own family. You have Gladys, who uses the children to benefit herself. You have the teacher, who uses the guy who's trying to be sober so that she can get her own. So people use other people. And then, okay, it's also saying, okay, well, the witch's control. This is the source of the horror. Horror movies always tell you what a society is anxious about. What is a society scared of? Well, they're scared of loss of self. People are scared of losing themselves, of losing bodily autonomy, like I said in the beginning. People also lose themselves through the abuse of substances. But it's a movie about trauma without a known source. See, we know that the trauma is from the witch because we're watching the movie. But the people in the movie, they don't know there's a witch. They don't know it's a witch movie. So you have people who lost all these children and they're terrified because they don't know what caused it. Because most like big traumatic events, they come from like a bunch of sources. It's not one thing. This movie, however, it is one thing. It is the witch, but the people don't know that. Now, we've done some breaking down. Now we gotta do something else. I feel like Trisha Paytas on my bathroom floor, or kitchen floor, whatever. I'm Trisha Paytas. Once you kind of like delve into like what the movie is telling you, you need to critique the movie. You have to critique everything, because not everything is perfect. So, criticisms. It's good to like find things to critique about the movie and see if it works. Like, example, there is an association with witchcraft and misogyny. I don't know how to spell misogyny. I don't know how to spell that. I'm so sorry. I'm horrible at spelling. But witchcraft and misogyny, okay? Because it's like a lot of time witches are like fighting in vain for beauty, or it's just like a thin veil to just critique women. Like a witch, a lot of times is just a stand-in for how men view women. And so, okay, witchcraft and misogyny. That is a criticism. Is it a valid criticism? I don't think so. I don't think that it's a valid criticism because I don't view Gladys as a misogynistic portrayal of women. I view her as like a parasite, as a vampire, as a leech. So is the criticism of witchcraft and misogyny, is that valid? I don't think so. I would cross it off. I would say that's probably not a valid criticism. Now, there is a one criticism, which is like the one minority character, the token gay. Now, there's one character in the movie who's gay, and he is the only main character who isn't white, and he also dies. And there's a trope in horror movies where they have like one character who's not white, or like one character who's gay, and they get killed. And honestly, I think that is a valid criticism. It just it follows that same trope in horror where there's the one minority character and they die. Now, does it detract from the movie? No, I don't think it detracts from the movie. I don't think, like, to me, a gay man watching the movie, I didn't watch it and, like, it didn't ruin my enjoyment. But this is a problem not with just the movie, but with horror in general. So I think that's a valid criticism. You're like, hey, that's maybe not cool. Let's try and shy away from that. Another one, which I think is somewhat valid criticism, is witchcraft being a stand-in for paganism, and paganism being viewed as evil. Like, anything that's not Christian is evil, and you're going to try and control people. And that's a criticism. You can say, hey, well, I like the movie, I think it's good, but I guess it fell into that same trope where showing a religion that's evil. Now, this is like, on a scale from 1 to 10, this is like a 1 out of 10. I don't think it's that prevalent. But it is worth pointing out the criticisms of the movie. But I don't think, like, if this is like a 3 out of 10 problem, I'd give this a 1 out of 10 problem and this a 0 out of 10 problem. Right? Because everything has problems. You have to point out the problems. One problem with the movie is the perspective shifts. So I like that the perspective shift from like person to person, and it kind of became like this whodunit to try and figure it out. I liked it, but I do think that, like, it did drag on a little bit, especially with the cop perspective and the perspective of the drug addict. I thought the perspective shifts, it kind of got a little muddy, and I kind of got a little bit bored in those two perspectives. And that's not really a problem with the story, it's a problem with the storytelling. So I think this is something that, like, if in the future the director wanted to do this perspective shifts, he has to be hyper aware that this is going to be a problem. So these are some criticisms with it, and some of them are valid, some are not valid, but it's worth bringing up all the criticisms. Okay, next. After going through that, you need to come with your own conclusions. What did you get from the movie? What did it reveal to you? Because we've talked about the themes, and like everybody sees the themes, right? The themes are like a part of the movie. But then you get to say, okay, well, what are these themes? What does it say to me? What does it reveal to me? What do I interpret out of this? And this is going to be different for each person. This is kind of like where you get to go in on shit, right? So what is my conclusion? I think this is an optimistic movie. And you might be like, okay, why is this optimistic? It's a horror movie. Well, I think it's optimistic because it's one person at fault. It's Gladys. Gladys is the reason all of this shit is happening. Sometimes, like, in reality, when there's a big traumatic event, there's usually not one person at fault. It's a societal issue. It's like an endemic, it's a big issue. It's a bigger issue than one person. And I think because this movie has one person at fault, it's a little bit more optimistic. And I think because there's the one person at fault, the Gladys, and she like dies, she gets ripped apart at the end, she gets her just desserts. And that's very optimistic. And when she gets her just desserts, it's a somewhat normal ending. It goes back to normal, kinda. It goes back to normal. It's normal enough. Obviously, people have to live with the trauma and grief of this big event. But like, some of the children started talking again. Alex goes to a loving family. It might not be his parents, but like, it returns to good enough. I view this as an optimistic movie. That's kind of my conclusion, but also like, you then get to go, okay, what do you want to focus on? If you were to like write an essay, if you were to try and like talk about this movie, what do you want to talk about? Well, you could maybe talk about addiction. You could talk about the fear of losing bodily autonomy. Or for me, I want to talk about the witch. Her sister was a witch, bro. I'd like to talk about the witch. And I want to analyze the archetype of the witch and how the witch shows up in stories and what does the witch mean to people. You know, because like the witch like captures children. The witch is kind of always a woman. A witch kind of, they can disguise themselves. They change, like the diva in Snow White or whatever. Gladys can change forms. There's also like with witchcraft, like when you think of witchcraft, you think of like the Salem witch trials and stuff, right? So there's a sense of mob mentality associated with the witch. And the witch usually like she leeches. She's a parasite. She's a vampire. So if I were to make something trying to like analyze the movie, there's a bunch of things you can analyze, but I'd want to focus on the witch. You could choose whatever you want to focus on. That's okay. 101 basics. This is how to analyze a piece of media. I want to end it with this. This is me talking to you, not about the movie. Telling a story inherently makes themes. In order for a story to make sense, there has to be some glue that holds it together. And the glue that holds it together is thematic relevance. So every movie has themes to it. Every story has themes to it. Also, using a stock character, like using the witch, that creates themes. There are themes associated with the witch. There are themes associated with horror. Putting all of those together is going to make its own unique themes. It's going to reveal something different. And the movie isn't necessarily like telling a message. It's not telling you what to do. It's not saying addiction bad. It's not saying like you have to stop doing. It's not doing that. It's just showcasing things. And through showcasing a story, you get to come up with your own conclusions. It's not like The Babadook, where it's an allegory for grief, and watching it, it's telling you need to overcome your grief. You have to accept your grief and accept the loss. This isn't a movie like that. Not every movie has to hit you over the head with a message, what it's telling you to do. This one is just laying things out. In conclusion, just write down the shit when you're trying to analyze something. Write it down. Say, okay, well, what is it about? Let me try and think a little bit deeper. Okay, well, how does that make me reevaluate? Like, just walk through steps like that, and the themes will reveal themselves to you. This is my Venmo. Send money. I'm moving out of LA.